there. I'll give it just another minute and see if another couple people come in. Okay, so we're gonna get started. So welcome to Chem 130. My name is Candace Henderson, and I will be your instructor for the semester. Full disclosure, my husband and I and our two daughters all got COVID last week. So thanks, grandparents, for not quarantining before we came and saw you. So we're doing all right. But if I am not responding to emails as quickly this week, it's literally because we have like no help right now. We're just sort of trying to juggle the kids and working. And if I say one thing and the syllabus says another, go with the syllabus, because I do have a little bit of COVID brain that is like an actual thing. My brain is, now I'm at like 65% capacity. I was at like 40 last week. So just bear with me for the next, I don't know, maybe week here. So this will be the format that we're meeting on. I had some questions about lab. We won't meet for lab, okay? So the lab portion of this class is going to be asynchronous, which means that you're just going to perform the labs on your own time when it works for you. So yes, you have signed up for a given lab and a given lab time, but we won't actually meet during those times. Now, if you've set up a babysitter or you've set up your work schedule so that that is an open time for you, I would recommend doing the labs at that time. And I will be available, so you can always email me and we can have one-on-one Zoom meetings and things like that if you have questions on the labs. So if you haven't done any Zoom, just really quickly along the bottom bar, you'll see there's a mute. You always want to have your mute on unless you're asking a question. Really, that's the only time, because you may be thinking, oh, I can be really, really quiet, but I can hear your typing and I can hear everything. And so when there's like even 5 or 6 people with the mute off, it can get a little crazy. So just keep that off. You'll see that you have a stop video. Look, I've been on Zoom meetings in my PJs in my bed before. I've done it, okay? If you can have your video on from time to time though, that is helpful for me. I can see your face. I get to know a little bit visually who you are. Some of you, I remember having you in previous classes. Hello. So if you can have your camera on from time to time, that is helpful. Also, when I'm lecturing, I do look at faces when I'm lecturing. So sometimes it's useful if I'm talking about something and you're like, I don't know what you're saying, it is useful. So Also on there, we've got really the only thing that you're going to need is the chat. So all the way over to the right, there should be an option for a chat. Say, hey. So if you can go ahead and just type something into the chat really quick, just to make sure that your chat is working. So that you, hello, hey. Okay, great. If you find you weren't able to do anything in the chat, you can talk to me afterwards. But that's how we will, for the most part, for most questions while I'm lecturing, throw them in the chat. If you put something in the chat, it is sometimes hard to manage lecture and the chat at the same time. If you put something in the chat and I haven't answered it and you're like, this is really pertinent to what we're talking about right now, I have no problem with you turning your mute off and just being like, oh, hey, quick question. That works as well. Hold on 1 second. Gabby, honey, I'm working. Jamie, I love you, but can you please watch the kids? I'm lecturing. Husbands. I'm like, I need you to watch the kids for an hour and 10 minutes today, literally. Anyway, okay. So yeah, you can always turn your mute off and just say, hey, I've got a question. It's really pertinent to this given section. So there's a screen share here that you really won't be using, but I will be using a whole lot. So I'm gonna share my screen, or hopefully you can see my screen now. And then you may have a box in the upper right-hand corner with some faces. So Moodle, if you've gotten through AB Tech without using Moodle, that will no longer be the case. Everything you need for this course will be in Moodle. So as soon as you can get your fingers in there, do so. We are in General Organic Biochem, so Chem 130. So as far as the Moodle page is concerned, at the very, very top, I put up notifications. I don't put up like, make sure to have your homework assignment done, but I will put up things like get this syllabus verified so that you can remain in class, or your test is coming up, things like that, big things. My email is right up at the top because you can never have your instructor's email in a better place, right? Right up at the top. So you can email me. You can email me 24 hours a day. I will not respond 24 hours a day, but Monday through Friday, I will respond to you hopefully that day. This week may be a little bit trickier. And if my emails are coming across as short, like I'm not putting them formally with your name at the top, it's because I'm holding a baby and a 5-year-old. So bear with me. There's a little video on Meet Your Instructor. You can watch that if you'd like. Here's the syllabus. This is a good one. And then right underneath it is the syllabus verification. So we're going to go through the syllabus today, but you're also going to want to look through it just to make sure everything makes sense. And then you'll click on this and say that you've read it. It's not like a test or anything. It's literally just saying, yes, I confirm that I've read this. So I'm going to open up the syllabus and we'll kind of ping pong back and forth between the Moodle page and the syllabus. Great. So here's our syllabus. AB Tech does a really good job of having a consistent format for its syllabi. So if you have been here before, this should seem pretty familiar. Couple things, spring 2021, that is where we are. I don't even know what year it is anymore. Meeting times. So we have live lectures on Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to 9:10. The lab section is asynchronous, so I'm going to have you guys do that on your own time. If you're wondering, how are we going to do a lab if we aren't meeting, I'll show you guys in a couple minutes. You do have to have prerequisites, so either Chem 092 or high school chemistry. If you don't have either of those, talk to me or send me an email to make sure that we get you into the right class. A DRE 09, 8, or a C in English, so on and so on. There is a co-requisite. So With other chemistry classes at AB Tech, it already signs you up for the lab section. Here you have to sign up for the lab section as well. I believe everybody is in one of the lab sections, so that shouldn't be an issue. If you're like, ooh, I don't think I signed up for this 130A, we want to make sure we get you in one of those. There's space in them. So the texts that you're going to need, chemistry, an introduction to general organic and biochem. Let me see if I have a copy of it on hand. I think I do. Wow. I actually have the text. Okay. So here's what the textbook looks like. We've got blue sky, green grass, some fireflies on it. With this textbook, if you buy it new, you get a Mastering Chemistry Access Code, which is where you're going to do your homework, or a Pearson Access Code. If you bought that book used or you're using your neighbor's, you're going to need to get the Mastering Chemistry Access Code. So we can see down here, we need that Mastering Chemistry Access Code as well. You also need the lab manual. This is what the lab manual looks like. Different than like our 092 where we had it printed in-house. This one is has like copyright and all that stuff. So you will need a copy of this. You can't do the labs without having this in hand. Even though we're not going to meet in person, you need to have the lab manual. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of go through this. You need the capacity to scan documents. And if you're like, I don't have a scanner, that's okay. You can use your phone to take a picture of your documents as long as it's got a camera where I can see the words. But you do need to be able to like convert those to PDFs on your computer. So email again, office hours, Wednesday from 11 to 12:30. Those aren't set in stone. I can meet other times. So if that doesn't work for you, that's no problem. We can really, I've found that during these online courses, if somebody just reaches out to me, we can find a time that works for both of us, since it's not like most of us are going anywhere. We're sort of at home a lot anyway. So yay, at least I am. I feel like I'm always home. Let's see. So my preferred email. Okay. If I don't get back to you within 3 days, you can contact my supervisor, he's the chair of the department. He's a great guy and he'll just hound me to email you back. So another thing you could do before that 3 days is if I haven't gotten back to you in 24 hours, just send me in the email chain, just say, hey, any updates? And it'll bump it back to the top of my inbox. And then I can prioritize it because it is, my inbox can get a little crazy with these online courses. All right. So course learning objectives, you can go through and read this on your own, yada, yada, yada. Evaluation criteria. So there is a standard grade evaluation as far as 10% blocks. So 90 to 100, 80 to 89, so on and so on. It gets a little bit gray in that like 89 range, or even sometimes 88.5, right? If you have been on lecture, if I've seen you being, present, you've been communicative, you've been sending me emails, letting me know what's going on, you're turning your assignments in on time when they're due, that 89 can turn into an A really easily, okay? So if you put the work in and you're right on the cusp there, it helps. As far as tests, tests are 45% of your grade. This is a pretty similar setup to Chem 092 if you've done that. Tests are 45%. There are 5 tests in this class and then 1 final. The final exam is 15% of your grade, but the final can be used as a grade replacement. So that's similar to Chem 092 if you've taken it here. So let's say you do well on all your tests except for the last test, you ended up getting a 30%, you just bombed it. And on the final, you got an 80%. Well, that final will erase the 30% and replace it with 80%. So that's a nice little added bonus. That tends to be used a lot because people miss a test for whatever reason. If you are going to miss a test or you need a different time to take the test, you have to let me know before the test date. If you let me know after the test date, it's going to be a 0. So just let me know beforehand. The lab is 25% of your grade. Big chunk of your grade is the lab, and the labs are not bad. Okay, as long as you're turning them in on time, you're answering the questions, you're trying your hardest, it will give you the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't mean that I'm going to give you 100% on every question every time, but like if you fill it in, I'm gonna give you at least a passing grade. Okay, so be doing the labs. The lowest one will get dropped. Then we also have Mastering Chemistry, which is your homework. We don't have any quizzes. I'm not giving you guys like pop quizzes. It's just too much work, but we do have Mastering Chemistry homework, and I'll show you how to get into that. So participation requirements. So you're, expected to be here live. I get it. Like it's 8 a.m. and we have lives and things are crazy right now. So if you are, going to miss a lecture here and there, that's okay. I actually do record all of these Zoom lectures and put them on YouTube. And I will show you where that is in the Moodle page. But one thing I do need you to do as far as participation is concerned is do that syllabus verification on Moodle. The reason is because of the census period. I have to show that you have participated in some capacity within the first week of classes in order to keep you in the class. If you don't do that, what it's going to say is that you haven't been here and you're not properly enrolled or something, and then they're going to kick you out of the class. So make sure you get that done by Sunday. In fact, it takes like 2 seconds. You could probably do it after we lecture. So that's what I would recommend while it's fresh in your brain. Let's hop over to the syllabus real quick, or the syllabus, the Moodle page, see where some of these things are that we've been talking about. All right, so syllabus is there. Syllabus verification is right there. Here are the Zoom meetings. So I tried to make everything laid out as like simple as possible, but there's always room for improvement. So let me know if anything in here is hard to find. So Zoom meetings, this is the link that I emailed you guys. It's the same link. You can always find it here. All right. We will always log into this Zoom meeting. So it's not like a brand new Zoom meeting every lecture. So you can just click on here or you can have it saved or something. This link here will take you to a YouTube channel called Candace in Chemistry. I have other videos on there for other classes. But I do organize them by playlist. So you'll want to go to the 130 playlist, and I will have them organized by date. So it'll say Chem 130 and it'll have the given date. So I try and get those posted by Thursday of each week so that you can go over them over the weekend. If you happen to have missed a lecture, or if you were in lecture, but you like mentally weren't in lecture and you want to go back and review stuff, that will be available for you. Okay. So, I got a question here. What's up? Did everyone get an email? I just checked and I never got one. Astrid, you didn't get one. Huh. Did anyone else not get an email? Okay. Let's, Astrid, check in with me after class because I just want to make sure that I get you on my email for this class. I don't forget you. Okay, so brief overview of the course. So this is general, organic, and biochem. So I would say the first half of the class is general chemistry. Then we're going to do some organics here, and then we're going to do some biochem towards the end. Laboratory policy. So this says the lab part of Chem 092. No, it's the lab of 130. I definitely ripped some of this off of my 092 syllabus. I may change that, I may not. Just fill in 130 there. This offers the option of using this app called a CAM scanner, which is nice to scan documents in to PDF form, and then you can get them into Moodle. Late labs will be reduced by 10%. every day. So where do you do them and how do you do them? So let's go to the laboratory section here. So laboratory resources. We got a bunch of stuff. There's 2 videos that I want you to watch on your own. They're only like 5 minutes or whatever. The first one, or no, there's only one actually. The second one is a link. So the first one, how to submit a lab assignment online. This will give you like step-by-step on how to do it. This here, this Word document, this is all the lab procedures. So if I click on this, it is going to open up a Word document that tells you specifically what I want you to do for each lab. So for, lab safety and lab 1, chemistry and measurements, watch this video, read pages 1 through 6. You want to do the pre-lab questions. On page 7, you do all of them. You want to do pages 9 through 10. It says page 9, do all questions and problems. So you want to follow this step by step. If it doesn't tell you to do something or it tells you to omit it, you can skip it, right? So this says omit parts B and C. You don't have to do them. These are like YouTube links that you can connect with. So it's laid out for every single lab. So this is our workaround to how do we do a lab if we're not in person. I'm not gonna have you like rummage through your kitchen and find like chemicals and things like that and run the experiments. We will give you the information in a dry form. So that information, you'll look at that, you will go to the corresponding lab in your lab manual and you will do the lab, just like you normally would. The difference is instead of physically turning it into me in the lab classroom, you are gonna go to your Moodle page. And you can see this little page with the little hand, like you're giving me the lab, okay? You're handing it into me. So you don't click on this to fill something out. You click on this to submit your lab. Once you click on one of those, it'll offer you the option to upload files, and you'll upload your PDF of the lab. Please submit the labs each page individually, as opposed to stacking like 3, 4, 8 on a page. I had one student put 8 on one page and it made it really tiny and really hard to read. So don't do that. The system does allow you to submit it as a JPEG, which is like a picture. If you could convert it to a PDF, it's much easier for me to write comments on it and give you feedback. So you have 2 labs that will be due on 1/24. I tried to put the dates for like the due dates in multiple places. So you've got them on here. We also have them in the syllabus. So for this Sunday, you don't have a lab, but you do need to get that their syllabus verification. So you can go through, there's 2 labs here where I give you a handout. So for 8, the nuclear chemistry, there is a handout here, and then actually the carbohydrate amino acids later on, I give you those. So you'll have to click on those, download them to your computer and fill them in. So make sure you're turning those in on time so you can get as many points as possible. Anyone have any questions on like labs and how lab is gonna go? So everybody, no matter what lab section you're in, you just got to make sure that they're due by Sunday at midnight for the due date. Everyone has the same due date. In here, there is a little summary on the Academic Learning Center, or the ALC. So if you've not used that, that is it's included in your tuition. You've already paid for it. It provides free tutoring through AB Tech. And if you've ever paid for tutoring, it can be anywhere from like $20 to $100 an hour. So this is a really, really nice resource. I have a link in the Moodle page for that. Obviously now it's online through Zoom. So online tutoring, you can click on that and they can set you up. That's just a really nice added resource. All right. So we've got the chapters that we're going over, homework. So you need the Mastering Chemistry access code. If you don't have the access code, when you click on the link to do your homework, it will prompt you to buy a code. So you can buy it through the online site. This gives you like the I don't want to say dumb down because like I would totally use these step by step. That like is how I get through life. But these step by step on how to sign in to Mastering Chemistry. Okay. Our code for the class is in red here. It's this Henderson 748. The link to it is on the Moodle page. So you can see under online homework, I put the code in as well right there. So when I click on this thing, it's going to take me to Mastering Chemistry. Mine's going to look slightly different than yours because I'm an instructor. It'll give you sort of an idea. So I've already got a passcode and everything set up. If you don't have one yet, you will need to fill that in. So we are in Chem 130. So it will just, once you're in the course, it will prompt you to do the homework assignments. One thing I like on this system is that they have all the assignments in a calendar. So I do have the assignment due dates on your syllabus, but this is really nice because they are just like embedded into the system. So it tells you when you need things to be turned in. So you can just kind of go in there weekly and say, okay, I've got this due, I've got this due, I've got this due. Let's not move that around, Candace. All right. So you've got all the assignments in there. Try and get on there sometime this week. Let's see, the first assignment is due. Ugh. Sometimes when I'm doing Zoom on top of other things, my computer starts to moan a little bit, a little slow. Just don't want to tell you something that isn't true about your first due date. Okay, so you do have an assignment. The first chapter assignment is due on Sunday at midnight. So sometime before Thursday, I'd like you to try and get into Moodle just so that you can let me know if you're having trouble getting into it. All right, what else do we have in here? So we've got our Mastering Chemistry. Tests. How do tests work? Tests are going to be online. And again, it's all going to be in Moodle. So this is sort of a sample example of what a test would look like, but we'll just actually bring it up here. So here are your tests. They're all ready to go. You can see the due dates. And there's a range in time of usually it's a Sunday at 5 a.m. to a Monday at midnight, so that you have one weekend day and one weekday, because I know some people work during the weekends and some people work during the week. The test won't open before that date. The test will not be open after that date. So you need to take the test within that window. Now, sometimes I have people, like this happened last semester where people would be like, oh, so is it open book? Yes, it is open book. It's an open note, which is great for you because you don't have to memorize all those like nitty gritty details, but you do not want to be teaching yourself chemistry during the test. Okay, so you don't want to go in cold. You only have like this first test, you only have 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete it. So yes, you do have the textbook, but if you have no idea what's going on and you're reading the textbook, you are going to eat into your test time, right? So make sure that you understand the concepts, you know how to run through calculations and all that sort of stuff. But, like, do you have to have every prefix memorized for the metric system? No, you don't, which is kind of nice. You aren't going to use anything, no internet, no phone, nothing like that. You will only be using your notes in your textbook and then your formula sheet. Here, it looks like I need to get you guys a formula sheet. I'll put one up in this top area here. You'll see formula sheet and periodic chart pop up in there. Your lab manual does have a periodic chart in it in the front here. Okay, but I'll give you guys an online one that you can print out. All right, so tests, great. Course advice, I think the biggest piece of advice is stay on top of your assignments. You don't want, you get behind by a week and then it's all of a sudden 3 weeks later and you still haven't gotten any assignments done and you're trying to play catch up. If you miss a week, like it's not the end of the world, start fresh the next week and just get the assignments done. And you can always work backwards later. So here's some important dates. I think really for us, the Professional Development Day on March 9th applies to us. So we won't meet then. And then spring break. Martin Luther King is next Monday, but we don't meet on Monday, so it doesn't affect our class. So the most important thing I think from the syllabus is this guy right down here. This is like the big due date extravaganza. So it tells you week by week what we will be lecturing on and what's due. So it has all the lab schedule due dates here. The lab due dates are also in Moodle. It also has your Mastering Chemistry due dates. Again, your Mastering Chemistry assignment due dates should also be in the Mastering Chemistry page. And then it also lets you know when your tests are happening. So 5 tests and a final. You can see that the first test is going to be on is going to be on February 7th to February 8th. So 4 weeks from now, just under 4 weeks from now, will be the first test. The tests in the beginning will come every 4 weeks. They get a little bit shorter towards the end of the semester because we start covering smaller increments of information. And yeah, that's it for that. So any questions on the syllabus? Will there be reviews for the exams? Not really, no. We won't really have time for it. I probably will be able to do a review for the final, but not each individual exam. Do you need a graphing calculator? No, you can get by without a graphing calculator. I don't want to make you go out and buy a $80 calculator, okay? It is helpful to have a graphing calculator, mainly because it has parentheses and you can see visually what you've plugged in, but you can get by with other calculators. I think the bookstore sent me the wrong book. Okay, ask me, I guess, after class, Sarah. I can take a look after. You take a look and see what's the deal with that. Any other questions on that? No? Okay, I'm gonna close up the syllabus here. So a couple other things. Yeah, I do need to put sorry, my brain is, this is what happens. This is what happens. My husband is, he's an architect and he was in a meeting and he could not think of basic words in his meeting. And yeah.
Sorry, real quick. I wasn't typing this.
Yeah, what's up, Cecilia?
In regards to studying for exams, I know there's not going to be reviews, but do you have other end of chapter questions that would be best for how we can prepare for those exams?
I do have, let's see, there are objectives. So if we go down into the chapter sections, where you have the PowerPoint, so you can review the PowerPoint slides and things like that. We do have the chapter objectives. So that will tell you, hey, make sure you know how to do X, Y, and Z from each chapter.
Okay, thank you.
Also in here, there are additional worksheets and just sort of pieces of information that may be helpful for you, notes and things like that. So most of chapter 1, we're going to do a little bit of lecture today. Most of chapter 1 is something that you're going to need to go over, but I'm going to go over one part of it. And the way that this class is sort of going to be set up is we will use the lecture notes as a guide, and then I will hop between that and a whiteboard that I have online where I can do practice problems. So, you know, the first part of this chapter, what is chemistry? It's everywhere. You know, scientific method. We'll go over that. I want to go to talks about how to calculate percentages. Here, I want to get to this part here though, scientific notation. So we do need to be able to write in scientific notation for this course. So in chemistry, we deal with really, really big numbers, and we also deal with really, really small numbers. One example of that is people have, on average, about 1 × 10⁵, that's a big number, hairs on their scalp. And each hair has a width of about 8 × 10⁻⁶ meter. That's a small number. So if I was to write that in decimal notation, I would have to say 1 0 0 0 0 5 zeros. And this one, I'd have to move the decimal over -6 hops to the left to make it a smaller number. It just becomes really cumbersome with really big and really small numbers. So instead of writing these long decimal numbers, we put them into scientific notation. And scientific notation will have 2 parts to it. So the first part is going to be the coefficient. And the coefficient needs to be a number between 1 and 10. Really 1 and like 9.99999. If we were at 10, we would just drop it down to 1. So lower than 10, 1 and higher. The second part is a exponent. So it's some sort of power of 10. If it's a big number, it becomes a positive exponent. If it's a small number, it's a negative exponent. That is what preserves how large or small the number is. So if I look at this number here, 2,400. In correct scientific notation, I would want to change this to a number between 1 and 10. So I'd move the decimal over enough spots to get it between 1 and 10, which would give me 2.4. And then I have to preserve how many decimal spots I moved over. So looking at this here, right, the decimal is hidden right in this spot here. We're going to move the decimal here. So I have to move 1, 2, 3 spots. So it becomes 10 to the power of 3. And it's a large number, so the exponent becomes positive. So we've got 2.4 times 10 to the 3rd power. This right here is representing a large number because we've got the positive exponent. So if I was to expand this back out, I would have to move my decimal 3 spots because of this in the direction that made it bigger. A lot of times teachers and texts will say, oh, you move it 3 spots to the left or you move it 3 spots to the right. I don't use left and right. I just think of it conceptually as, is it a big number or is it a small number? So this here is a big number. So I should have a positive exponent. Over here, this is a small number. So I should end up with a negative exponent. How big or small is that? It depends on how many hops you need to take to get that coefficient. So let's do a couple of these. If you're like, ooh, that looks scary, you guys will be doing that at the end of the semester. So no worries, you don't have to do it right now. Okay. So 8, 0, 2, all right, so this is a really cumbersome number. To have to write this out like this every time would be a total pain in the butt. So instead, I'm going to write it in scientific notation. If I put the decimal there, that's where the decimal is living. It's not written, but it's assumed that that's where it is. It's between the 1s place and the 10ths place. I need the decimal to happen over here to give me that 8.02. Right now I've got a number that's between 1 and 10. How many hops do I have to take to get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Times 10 to the 14. And this is a big number, so I'm going to keep that positive. We're done. What if I have a small number? So 0.0000020. It's easier to see the decimal. It's right here. I need it to sit right there. So 2.0. And if you're wondering why am I writing the 0 in, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we need to get our decimal over to this spot. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hops. So 10 to the 8. And is this a big or a small number? It's a small number. So I'm going to throw a negative in the front of it. And so I'm going to give you 2 to do on your own here. I don't know why I'm putting a decimal there. All right, so you can write that in scientific notation, and then also let me give you some commas in here so that it's a little bit easier to see what's going on. All right, I'll give you just a minute to work on those. Okay, so we'll go over it. The decimals here, we want it to live here, 3.26. And it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. Positive because it's a big number. Here, decimals here, we want it to live here. 4.32 times 10. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the negative 7. Negative because it's a small number. I'll give you 2 going the other direction. So 4.18 times 10 to the negative 4 and 3.11 times 10 to the 16th. Okay, I want you to write those out in decimal form. All right, so when I'm working on these, going the other direction, I didn't like really tell you, but this is a small number. I'll take what my decimal is and I'll kind of write it over here to give myself some space. I don't need like a whole lot because it's only 4 hops, but 418. The decimal normally lives here. I have to hop it 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why that's doing that there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal will live here, and then I have to fill in with zeros. 0.000418. This here, this is a big number, so I'm gonna write this here. My hopping needs to go in the direction that will provide or produce a big number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, that's how many hops it takes. You have to fill zeros in with the empty hops. Questions on that? Okay. See if these slides have anything else to offer us. I don't think so. So scientific notation, yada, yada. Yeah, we're good there. Okay, that's all I'm gonna cover for chapter 1 as a class. The rest you'll do on your own. All right, so I think we'll call it for today. Pick up on chapter 2 on Thursday. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me specifically, you want to stay around, do so, and I can put everybody in a waiting room and just pull you in one at a time. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week. Good luck with all your classes. And you can always reach me through email. So I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye.